What's up, guys? It's a lovely Thursday night, about 10:30, and yeah, we're working on GM stuff as always. So we have another green Suburban outside that we're going to do another 2500-ish conversion on, kind of like our LSA blue one, but that one's going to get a 8.1 with a blower with a 6L90 with a 261 transfer case. So it's going to be kind of a cool, modern yet old school setup with the newer transmission and the older drivetrain. But I'll throw some pictures up here in the video, but it was badly repaired in this area at some point where this support is actually pushed out. I think it got rear-ended, so this whole thing got pushed outwards. So there's a big bubble in the quarter panel, and the paint was all trashed anyways. So I was able to pick this one up that had already been mostly parted out, and literally all I wanted it for was this clean quarter panel that didn't have any dents on it. Normally every time we buy one of these sides has a crunch on it, and every one of them outside that I can that I own, other than I think one, is crunched right there. So but I wanted to take this opportunity to kind of show everybody what is actually behind here, and if you decide to take one of these off, how much of a giant pain in the rear end it is. Not only are there a million spot welds that you have to take out, there's also a bunch of seam sealer and a bunch of body foam. So all this body foam is like, this stuff is still sticky and gross after 25 years. So it is a pain to actually get in and cut all this stuff apart. Since we're going to have this one repainted and we're not going to do sort of a color match, direct color match deal, we didn't actually take the top piece off that goes around the windshield or around the rear quarter glass, and that saved us probably 50 or 60 spot welds. So if you can see in the reflection here, you've got all these around here, and then you've got all the ones on this back edge and on the roof. Let me jump up there. The roof skin, so all in the drip channel here, there's a bunch of spot welds, but the roof panel is actually put on after the quarter panel. So the roof skin is actually on top of it. So you have to basically drill all the spot welds out and then slide it out this way. So since we're going to be welding this one back in, we're just going to seam it right here, clean it off, and then weld everything, spot weld everything back in. We're probably going to put something like a metallic blue sparkle or something in the clear coat, so our color match when they paint it the other green doesn't have to be perfect. But I'm sure they're going to go in. We'll have them blend the door jambs and kind of get it all back to original before they clear it. But so just to kind of show you guys and girls, if you're interested, where all the spot welds are, so if you ever want to get this crazy. The barn door ones are a little bit different because they have extra bracketry and everything for the hinges here, and this whole section is basically hollowed out, but it's essentially pretty darn close. So let's see, let's start up here in the front. So all the way around the quarter glass is spot welds, as you can see, and then all the way along the back of the door, so all the way down and around, all the way underneath. The one part that trips some people up, and let me move this out of the way. It's crazy how light this is once it's actually off the vehicle here. There we go. One spot that trips people up, and let me grab a flashlight, is where the rocker panel comes in. So a lot of people have, the rust rocker panels, and the way that it looks like from GM, it looks like it's welded to the rear quarters, and it's just seam sealer. So there's just seam sealer there, and they paint over it. So it's a pretty hard seam sealer, which is nice. It makes a nice finish, but it is kind of a pain. We usually have to get a torch, kind of heat this up, make it a little gummy. And they also put a little bit along this whole edge, all the way up to the body crease here, and then from there up it has the gasket that goes around the door, so it keeps water from going into the body cavity. So I mean, you can see this is 25 years old. There's, you know, some spiders and stuff in here, but there's no real like water intrusion or rust or anything like that. So they did a really good job there. Underneath here, there is a couple of spot weld locations. Let's see if I can, there we go. Just a couple there. There's a whole bunch, obviously, in the wheel arch all the way around. And then there are a bunch right above the muffler area there, so get all those out of there. And then moving on to the back, you've got basically a bunch where the hatch would go, so that whole edge there, and then up top here you've got just a couple. And yeah, oh, and right here behind the tail light, so you got to get those off as well. So a lot of times we'll use the typical like Harbor Freight or Rotabroach style spot weld cutters, and those will give you a nice sort of non-intrusive type of hole. Problem is on this, it just takes forever because you're trying to be careful. So most of the time, if we know we're not going to be welding anything back onto this, we'll just use like a 3/8 drill bit and just go to town and just knock them all out and be done with it. So and then for this foam, there's a couple different ways you can do it. You can heat it up with a torch from the outside, but you have to be real careful you don't mess the paint up. What we like to use is this. This is, they call it zip line, but this is basically a auto glass cord that the windshield guys use. And what they'll do is they basically string it around a piece of glass here, and they have a little winch that actually basically runs it around and tightens it, and it cuts the urethane. But if you can string it through, you know, from the top here, find a little opening here, and then you basically pull it back and forth in a sawing motion, and you can kind of get it to slowly work through all of this. You can actually see where it cut through, and then the last little bit just kind of let go because we were pulling on the panel. But all of this was cut with that cord, so it makes a pretty good quick, easy job. Now when you're going to put this back on, obviously you want to clean the foam up as much as you can so the panel sits on nice and flush. You don't want to use spray foam, because otherwise you're going to end up on just rolled in, and we're going to roast you and be like, why was this idiot fixing this with spray foam? And the great stuff, or whatever you want to call it, that they sell at Home Depot or Lowe's or Ace Hardware, the problem with that is it will expand. And if you were to say weld all this back together and spray a bunch of spray foam in here, it would push the panel and you'd actually end up with a bulge on the panel. So you want to make sure you use a non-expanding foam to fill all this back in. And what we'll normally do is spray a bunch of foam on here, put the panel in place, and make sure all the alignment holes line up. And there are some alignment holes in the actual flanges. Let me grab the light again and I'll show you where they are. But there are non-spot welded locations. Let me find one here. I can't see any right now. I threw my back out, so it's kind of hard to lean down here. But you'll see them. They're actually just a hole that isn't spot welded. And those will basically line everything up with the factory. We'll put some clamps in place, let everything cure, and then go back and spot weld everything in. You don't want to like spot weld, spot weld, spot weld, spot weld, spot weld. You want to kind of jump around and you know, get everything, or not concentrate all your heat in one spot. So yeah, I think that's it. So we're, you know, trying to save one with another one. And yeah, this one was already pretty much gutted. Somebody took the dash column, motor, trans, all that out. And we're going to save the seats because we'll recover them and use them on one of the other ones. And, you know, pretty much all the interior plastics were hammered. So it's all going to go to scrap at some point. But we wanted to make sure this was off and saved because that was the whole reason we bought the thing. And yeah, that's it right there. So if you ever wanted to know what the rear quarter on a GMT800 looks like, it's basically that. The only difference on the other side is you have the gas filler. So there's a big hump right here, and it's a big open pocket that goes down, and the gas filler goes down there. So other than that, it's pretty much the same. So I'm going to clean up this big giant mess and get back to work, and I'll catch you guys next time.